Rush Duel is a fast-paced spin-off game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you can summon as many monsters as you want and draw up to 5 cards each turn. In this series, me and the TheDrAlex progress through each Rush Duel product release and build decks with whatever cards were available at that time. We have been drafting characters from the Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's anime and have exclusive access to those characters' boss monsters, and will continue to draft characters from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush series. Join us as we continue to battle it out in this series, Rush Duel Character Draft. The Over Rush pack introduces Cyber Dragon to Rush Duels, including Proto Cyber Dragon, Cyber Twin Dragon, Cyber End Dragon, and Power Bond as a new legend card. Further support for the Cyber Dragon archetype has been created exclusively for Rush, like the Cyber Rush Dragon, a new fusion monster made from 2 Cyber Dragons that can special summon a machine from your hand, Cyber Assault Dragon that can destroy a level 8 or lower monster with 2400 or more attack, Cyber Stealth Dragon that gains 2000 defense and can't be destroyed by monster effects if you have a Cyber Dragon engraved, to name a few. This set also introduces a new Fire Fiend archetype revolving around maximum monsters, the Blaze Fiends. Doomblaze Fiend Overlord, Despairation, is made of 3 level 10 monsters, cannot be destroyed by spell or trap cards, stops either player from special summoning level 7 monsters, prevents your opponent from setting monsters, and can discard 2 maximum cards to destroy 1 card on the field and draw 2 cards. Blaze Fiend Overlord's Bielaka Taroth is made up of 3 level 4 monsters, cannot be destroyed by battle with normal monsters, becomes level 10, cannot be destroyed by traps, gains 600 attack, and inflicts piercing damage. The last major archetype introduced is the Executes, a series of level 6 monsters of varying types and attributes that revolve around having other level 6 monsters and weaken high level monsters. There are also some new support cards for existing archetypes, such as Jointex Decocilus for Earth Machines, HDD 100 Divine Dragon for Dragons, Finalize Phoenix for Pyro, Destroyer of Dragon Sorcerers for Spellcasters, Yami Ruler the Dark Delayer Supreme Soldier Spear for Fiendish Commanders, Can ID for Psychic, Beast Gear Emperor Glider Fox for Beast Warriors, Rage Wrecker Dragon Anger Rogue for Dinosaurs, Almastra 11 Aquarius for Light Galaxy, and Void Velgir Apocalypse for Dark Galaxy, who can gain 1000 attack, effect destruction immunity, and bring back the new legend card from grave to hand, Dark Hole. I will be taking the Cyber Dragon cards, Glider Fox, Jointex Decocilus, Yami Ruler Supreme Soldier Spear, Anger Rogue, and Destroyer of Dragon Sorcerers. Alex will be taking Doomblaze Fiend Dragon Despairation, 100 Divine Dragon, Finalize Phoenix, Can ID, Aquarius, and Void Velgir Apocalypse. So this is the deck we're bringing to today's game. This is Cyber Dragons, and we are so excited to play this deck. I love machine monsters. I love the Cyber Dragons. Zane is obviously, I think, a fan favorite character of just all of Yu-Gi-Oh! So let's fire on into this deck. So we're actually going to start with the extra deck here because there's quite a lot going on. We have our brand new exclusive to Rush Cyber Dragon fusion monster called Cyber Rush Dragon. So this is made of 2 Cyber Dragons. Your opponent's monster from the field, draw cards into your 5 in hand, then send 4 cards from your hand to the graveyard. Then you can special summon 1 machine type monster from your hand face up to your field. So the important part of this card is that you will end with 0 cards in hand, which does come up later when we start talking about our Cyber Search Dragon. But basically, we can use this card if we already have a high-level machine in hand. We can just draw a load of cards, send them to graveyard, summon out a high-level machine, and bam, we've got 2 high-level cards out. Or if we don't have one, we can draw 5 cards, hope we draw into 1, and then special summon that. And that's kind of how this card works. It just gets to kind of fuel the board and try and go wide and summon out as many monsters as possible. Then we have Cyber Twin Dragon. Same requirements for 2 Cyber Dragons, but this card can just attack twice. 2800 attacks, so the same number of attack points, but just being able to attack twice can be very relevant, especially if we can get off something like Power Bond or Jointex Rushhorn. It can become very, very powerful just being able to attack twice. The weakness of this card and the Cyber Rush Dragon is they're both level 8, which means all of the cards that say they affect level 8 and lower monsters will affect these cards, which is a bit of a shame, but what can you do? Then we have Cyber End Dragon, made of 3 Cyber Dragons. When it attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing damage. So just piercing is good, especially on a 4000 body. And if we manage to get it out with Power Bond, 8000 piercing is completely nuts. Next up is our Mark Mecha Falcon. So we have 2 Cyber Falcon in the deck, so we thought we'd put this in. 2 Cyber Falcons, 2500 attack, level 7. Gain 500 life points. If you gained it, deal 500 damage to your opponent. Probably isn't going to come up very much, but if we find that we just aren't able to get over something, we do have a fusion, which we're going to be running in with the Cyber Dragons, and we do just happen to have 2 Cyber Falcons, we can go into this and just try and use it situationally. So we are on the 3 copies of Cyber Falcon, again for our fusion. We're on 3 copies of Cyber Stealth Dragon. So you can tribute summon this card in attack position by tributing a Cyber Dragon. Now these effects are all probably going to come up quite a lot because we have a lot of cards that are either Cyber Dragon or Proto Cyber Dragon which become Cyber Dragon, and lots of way to kind of recycle Cyber Dragon. So we should be tributing these cards a lot with only just the 1 copy of Cyber Dragon. But if we have Cyber Dragon in our graveyard, this card gains 2000 defense and cannot be destroyed by monster effects. So 2500 attack, 2800 defense, and can't be destroyed by monster effects can be very relevant. Cyber Assault Dragon is you can tribute summon this card again in attack position by tributing a Cyber Dragon. We can place a Cyber Dragon from our graveyard to the top of our deck, which can be very relevant because that means we can hopefully draw into it and go into a fusion play. Then we can destroy 1 face-up level 8 or lower monster with 2400 or more attack on your opponent's field. So there are quite a few cards that fall into this category, but it is also quite specific. Basically, this kills boss monsters that aren't just weak enough and also aren't fusions that are level 9+. So it feels like a very balanced card. Like they went very hard to try not to make this card too broken, but I still think this is very, very strong. Next up is our Cyber Search Dragon. So again, tribute summon it in attack mode by tributing a Cyber Dragon. During your main phase that you normal or special summon this card, place 1 card from your hand on the top of your deck to special summon 1 Cyber Dragon from your graveyard. So again, we could tribute a monster or just special summon Cyber Dragon in its effect, tribute that Cyber Dragon, summon this, put a card from our hand back, summon Cyber Dragon back, and then we could even tribute that Cyber Dragon again to summon out one of our other monsters so we can keep this chain going, kind of swarm the board quite a bit. The aforementioned Cyber Dragon, if only your opponent controls a monster, then you can special summon this card from your hand to your field. Again, not as relevant in Rush, but still kind of relevant because we can keep an extra card, which means we could use that for other kind of tribute fodder. So it's a good card, I feel, and we can also bring it back using Cyber Search, and 2100 attack is nothing to shake a stick at. Next up, Cyber Griffins. Send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard, choose 1 face at level 5 or higher machine monster on your field. This turn, that monster cannot be destroyed by your opponent's trap cards. Also, if that monster is light attribute, draw a card. So we do lose a card, but we do replace that card, so it can also be filtering, but also it protects our big machines from being destroyed by traps, which can be very, very relevant when we get things like our Cyber Twin or our Cyber End, and we want to just be protecting them from being destroyed. Because basically, the deck wants to summon out a load of guys, get a load of piercing and extra attacks, and then just blast face for a shit ton of damage, and Cyber Griffin will help us do that a little bit safer. Then we're on the 3 copies of Proto Cyber Dragon. Again, this card is treated as Cyber Dragon, which is extremely important. If we could, we'd have as many cards in the deck as possible that could be treated as Cyber Dragon. Then we have Craft the Drone. Send 1 machine monster from your hand to the graveyard, draw a card. Again, filtering, very important, especially in this kind of combo-oriented deck. And then our Ultimate Flag Beast Surge Unicorn, we can just use this as 2 tributes to get out one of our boss monsters if we find that we're kind of bricking on them. So then with 3 Iron Onslaught, again, this is, we've been leaning away from Spell Trap Destruction, but in a deck like this, which wants to combo out, summon out a load of guys, and blast for just a crap ton of damage in 1 turn, getting rid of back row can be very important, because back row is the one thing that will trip us up. 3 copies of Fusion, because we have a shit ton of extra deck monsters, and we want to be seeing them as much as possible. 2 copies of Cyber Entry. So if we have 3 or more light attribute machine type monsters in our graveyard, special summon a Cyber Dragon or Proto Cyber Dragon from your hand, or graveyard face up to the field. This turn you can only attack with light attribute machine monsters. So the only reason we're not maxing out on this is because if we see a lot of this card early, it does absolutely nothing. If we see this mid to late game, fantastic card. We want to be seeing this as much as possible, but we're a bit worried about bricking on it early. So Power Bond is very, very interesting in Rush. So we can fusion summon a machine type monster by sending monsters from your hand or field. Now that is the important part. We can fusion summon from our hand using this card, which means we can just have 3 Cyber Dragon in hand or 2 Cyber Dragon in hand and just fuse them out without having to tribute monsters to summon them, which can be extremely important. Obviously, the rest of the effect is that the monster that we summon gets doubled attack. So in terms of Cyber Twin, it would be 5,600 attack that can attack twice. Cyber End, a 8,000 attack piercing monster, is completely bonkers. And then at the end of the turn, we take damage equal to the amount of attack gained by this effect. Hopefully, though, if we resolve Power Bond, we'll be ending the game right there and then. Then we're on 2 copies of Joint Tech Rushhorn. So equip this to a machine type monster on your field. It gains 300 attack and piercing. So if we stick this onto a Cyber Twin Dragon, this becomes 3,100 attack that can attack twice with piercing. If we combine that with Power Bond, if we manage to get this like 3-card combo going, then we will just have a ridiculous card. We'll have 5,600, 5,900 with piercing that attacks twice. So that's 12,000 damage, which is just completely insane and should just win the game on the spot if we're able to pull it off. And then for the trap cards, 2 copies of Battle Demotion. This is probably the best generic trap that the machine monsters have access to, and it can be very useful. So, for the side deck, we're on 3 copies of Ultimate Flag Mech Ace Breaker. This is in case Alex is playing anything that we just can't get through, anything that's just too big, which probably shouldn't be a problem for this deck, but we thought we'd put it in just in case. We're on the Joint Tech Rex in case Alex is on a particularly back row heavy deck. 2 Ancient Barrier in case we feel that we really need the protection from Alex's trap cards if he has a lot of things that can destroy our monsters. The 3rd copy of Rush Duel in case we feel we need it. Beast Gear World, depending on what Alex is on, this might be good to weaken his monsters, but also just a lot of our monsters are 2400 attacks, so being able to boost them up to that over 2500 threshold could be relevant. 3 copies of Primal Fist in case we feel we need more traps. The 3rd copy of Battle Demotion, and then another new trap card, Multiple Adapter Unit. So when your opponent normal summons a monster, send 1 face up level 5 or higher machine monster from your field to the graveyard. Change that monster to face down defense position. Then you can special summon 1 Cyber Assault Dragon or Cyber Stealth Dragon from your graveyard face up to your field. So if you can fulfill the second part, which means if I have a Cyber Assault Dragon or Cyber Stealth Dragon in the graveyard, this card is fantastic. But if you don't, again, it's a bit of a brick. And for the same reason we're only on the 2 copies of Cyber Entry, we've relegated this to the side deck because if we see a lot of this card early, it's really not useful. So that's the deck. Hopefully, we'll be able to do it proud and we'll be able to just stomp Alex out of the game. If we can resolve Power Bond, I'm pretty sure we'll just get a free win. So let's jump into the game and see what Alex is bringing. So, last week, we got to see your new Maximums, which were pretty cool, and we got to see my new Dinosaur. But we actually have a shit ton of additions, I guess, to our existing decks, as well as a few new decks that we could bring in. So I am really, really excited to see what you're bringing today, and I'm really, really excited to play what I'm playing. Obviously, last week I actually got to bring my Dinosaurs, which, you obviously know this, but Dinosaurs are one of my all-time favorite archetypes. Right, whether it's in like regular Yu-Gi-Oh or just Rush specifically. Like,
yep.
Even from the days of just Super King Rex Turbo, the deck, which is still I still rate that deck. Right, it's a bit power crept. Right, that was a very early Rush Duel deck back from 7s, but I still rate like a 2500 dude that can summon another dude. I still think that's a decent effect. It's one of those things as well. Well, I still think as well your Royal Rebels, so your original Fiends, obviously now you have the Blaze Fiends, they still feel like they should be relevant, right? They've got a lot of big bodies, they hit that 2500 mark very easily. Some of their effects are really, really broken if you can get them off. But they just feel like, I don't know, maybe they require a bit too much of an investment to get going, I guess. Like, so obviously a lot of their effects require you to tribute high-level monsters, and it's not always easy. They tried to make it a little bit easy over time by putting like lower-level monsters that can become higher level.
Yeah.
Because you never really want to be like, tribute 2 monsters, summon a guy, tribute 2 monsters, summon a guy, then I'll tribute these 2 monsters to summon a guy. It's like, well, okay, we've just invested 6 cards into that 1 card. But, forgetting about that, shall we jump into this game and see what we're both bringing?
Let's go.
So, can I actually beat your rock, paper, scissors? Is the first question. Oh, yeah. Alright, this opening hand is pretty bad. I will... I think set, and set, and then just pass the turn on that.
Okay.
I feel like there are so many things you could be bringing. Oh, Dark Galaxy. Oh, one of your favorites as well. Oh, no. Oh, I know what that means. I know it's in your extra deck.
My new fusion.
Yeah, but it's not even the fusion I'm worried about. It's what comes with him. Oh, you have back row. Your hand's way better than mine. You got my Cyber Griffin.
Yeah, I thought it'd be Cyber Dragon this week.
I mean, yeah, we've got to bring it out at some point. I'd really like to draw cards that do things, though. Rather than whatever this is. So, we're gonna wall up some more and pass the turn.
Okay. Read these boys for this.
Okay, so that's Trenzy.
That and summon. Do a meteor charge.
Okay. Reveal Cyber Falcon.
Okay, battle. Swing over this.
Okay.
Attack over this.
You have a little bit of life point damage on me.
Oh.
Okay, maybe we can start doing things. We will summon out Craft the Drone, activate its effect, pitch to draw. Okay, does this get me going? Okay. We will tribute to summon out Cyber Dragon.
Ooh.
Then I can tribute Cyber Dragon to summon out Cyber Assault Dragon, activate its effect, to put Cyber Dragon from grave on top of deck, and then destroy a monster that's level 8 or lower, 2400 or more attack. Now the question becomes, do I want to do anything with this? I don't really know what your traps do in that deck. Okay, we're just gonna... the problem is your set monster is probably a high defense card. Okay, we're gonna normal summon out Cyber Griffin. We can... I don't think I want to affect its effect. We'll go battle. We will attempt to attack over your Pale Rider, and then we will probably take 300 damage attacking this. Oh, only 100 damage. Okay, that's fine. Could have been worse. We'll pass on that.
This isn't great. Activate Void Corridor.
Okay.
Let your Gobule go back Transy.
Okay, Transy's not the end of the world. He's only a 2400 attacker.
Set this. You have a Cyber Dragon in your grave. You don't currently.
I did put the Cyber Dragon back to the top of my deck to use his effect, though. Obviously, I'd have to have a way to get it into the grave, so discarding it or tributing over it or something, but...
What you can do with Cyber Griffin.
Yes, or if I draw a tribute monster, or if I draw another card that discards a card.
Okay. I'll activate Gobule.
Okay.
Shuffle these guys back in. Get up, Burst Ray.
Okay.
Go battle, see what this is.
It was my Ultimate Flag Beast Surge Unicorn. There goes Griffin. Okay. Alright, I have a play. I don't really like it, but it's the best I've got. So, normal summon my Surge Bicorn. Then I will tribute it to summon out Cyber Dragon. Then I will tribute that to summon out Cyber Stealth Dragon.
Ooh. Well, this is where I activate Void Veil.
Yep.
And I put your dude face down.
Unfortunately, unless that says I can't flip it up, I'm just going to flip it up. There we go, put it back in the hand. There we go. Okay, so now it comes down to, do you have a combat trick, I suppose? I'm pretty sure Dark Galaxy has a combat trick. The question is, do you have it? I really don't want to walk into it is the problem. So, as much as this pains me, I'm going to tribute to summon out Cyber Dragon. Tribute that to summon out Cyber Assault Dragon. Activate Cyber Assault Dragon. And get rid of this again. Set a back row, go to battle, and then attack. Because even if you have a combat trick, it's not going to be over 1,200. And then we'll pass. This way I also do empty my hand, which is very good.
Set this.
Okay.
We'll summon Pale Rider. Set this. Activate a Universe Door.
Got Battle Demotion.
Yes. And yeah, we'll just pass on that, I think.
So we will draw a hand. Okay. I guess we'll start with Iron Onslaught. We'll pop this. It's a Meteor Charge, okay. Next up, I will normal summon out Cyber Falcon. We'll tribute it to summon out Cyber Dragon. And I will tribute that to summon out Cyber Stealth Dragon again. We will set back row, go to battle, and I suppose we will attack with our Cyber Stealth, and then attack with one of the defense monsters. And pass.
I'm going to activate Void Corridor.
Okay.
Pitch Gunman. Get out. Transy.
Okie dokie.
Flip over Gobule. Universe Storm.
Haha, it was fusion.
Ooh. I'm gonna activate Globule. Play.
He's back.
We're gonna normal. Set. Activate the effect.
Okay.
Go to battle. Swing of this.
Well, goodbye Assault Dragon. Okay. Alright, let's get funky. Alright. We will normal summon Proto Cyber Dragon.
Yep.
I will then tribute it to summon out my Cyber Search Dragon. So, tribute this card by tributing a Cyber Dragon. During your main phase, you normal or special summon this card. Place one card from your hand on top of your deck. Special summon a Cyber Dragon from your graveyard. So, I'll go ahead and activate that. Pop this on top of my deck. And bring back Cyber Dragon. Then, I can tribute that to summon out another Cyber Search. Obviously, I don't have any room to actually summon anything else. But then we can go battle. And I suppose we will attack with this. Then attack over the defense. And then we can get in for 24. And then we pass. And this is where you draw Dark Hole off the top. And I go, ah, crap. I hate that card.
I wish. What I do have is Veil Rider.
Okay.
Dark Prophet.
Okay.
Tribute
Fusion.
for
Oh, no.
Requiem.
Okay.
A Veil Rider. And a Dark Prophet.
And then fusion.
I'll activate Requiem.
I don't remember what the fusion is. I know it's Dark Prophet and something. Oh, it's just Pale Rider. Okay. Ooh, this is looking pretty rough.
Good battle.
So this turn gains 1000 attack, cannot be destroyed by effects. Then if you summon this card during your main phase, for this card, you can add Dark Hole. So it's just 1000 attack is what it can get. So I think actually the other one is slightly more annoying. So I think I will change this to defense.
Okay.
Goodbye, Search. That's interesting. So realistically, the only way I'm going to be getting over Apocalypse is by crashing. So this is when I summon it. So I cannot summon out another Cyber Dragon from the grave, unfortunately. That would be really fun, but not allowed. So I think I have lethal in a weird kind of way. Very roundabout as well. Alright, I'm going to tribute both of my monsters to summon out Cyber Search. I can activate Cyber Search, put this on top to bring back Cyber Dragon. Then I can activate Cyber Entry to bring back, I guess, Proto Cyber Dragon from the graveyard. Then I can activate my fusion. I think the best option is just going to be Twin. We set, go to battle. We can attack into this. And then attack over this. And then second attack for game. Oh.
Yeah, GG.
Oh yeah, that was a real nail bite. I think if you had just drawn Dark Hole, I was in a pretty shit position. I think I'd probably just lose the game immediately, right? Because you would have Dark Holed me, summoned out both of these guys. I couldn't have used my trap to change either of them to defense, and then you just attack me for 35 plus 20 plus 4,000. So you just hit me for 7,500. So like just the difference of drawing it and not drawing it is so big there.
A second.
Okay, good luck, buddy. Oh, this is a really weird hand. Alright. Alright, I'm gonna pass my turn.
Oh.
Realistically,
Not bad,
I think if I play a card from my hand, I'm only playing one card. And if I do that, I'm only drawing one card anyway, so I might as well not play it, have extra resource for next turn, and get the same number of cards drawn anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. We have options. So I could do that, and then just go aggro. Although that doesn't out Requiem. And the 2 back row also just really complicate things. I do have this option, which I think is pointless, so I think it's always got to be that. Okay, I think we only really have one play that does anything. So we special summon Cyber Dragon. We normal summon Proto Cyber Dragon. We drop the fusion. As much as I'd like to show off the new fusion, it doesn't do anything because my hand is crap. So I have to go into this. We set a back row. Let's get conservative. I don't want to get greedy. So we'll set that, go to battle, and then hope you don't have a back row that stops this. And then get him for 28 and pass.
Okay.
So the scary thing with Cyber Twin is it's only level 8, so it doesn't get the like fusion protection that a lot of the more powerful fusions get. As well as it's only 300 higher, so any tiny combat trick would just destroy it. And it's obviously a 3-card investment to get this thing out, so if it just died to a combat trick, that's just so bad for me.
Burst Ray.
You're gonna burn me.
And a Pump Universe Storm.
Haha, it was fusion.
Am I gonna burn you? Yes, why not?
Bloody Requiem as well. Requiem is the most annoying one, because it's the one that gets over me the easiest. Yeah, here it comes.
Activate the effect. Beat over.
Alright, so now I need to draw something that outs that. We have some options. Do any of them actually accomplish anything? Ah, your back row is just mighty.
Thanks.
Okay, we will set a monster. I will then tribute 2 and summon out Cyber Stealth Dragon. Then I'm going to set 2, go to battle phase, and attempt to crash and see if we can at least get you to use a back row. Yeah, there we go. That's the combat trick we were worried about last game. And we'll pass on that. I mean, I've got to get rid of your back row at some point to win.
Yeah, that's true. No, normal summon.
Okay.
Globule.
I'm scared.
Maybe face up to do that. Let's send the top. Yeah, we might as well.
Am I getting burned again?
Tribute. Oh yeah, I could have. Never mind. Globule.
Oh boy. Oh,
Activate the effect for this globule.
Oh.
Then.
This is looking dire.
Make sure I click the attribute symbol with globule. Yeah, can activate this guy's effect. Burn you. And then change his position back. Go to... oh, I should have the other one. Never mind.
Yeah, depending on how much that boosted to, you might have just missed lethal. Again, the number of dark attribute monsters on your field, so it would have been 900. So it wouldn't have been lethal.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have been close.
Fine.
Oh, okay. Alright. Summon Craft a Drone. Activate Iron Onslaught. Now. The question becomes, what can I actually afford to do here? Right, what? I can use Craft a Drone. I'll draw a card, but is drawing any card better than just using what's in my hand currently? The problem is my hand doesn't really do anything.
I was about to say, only you could answer that question. I can't see what your hand is.
It's more of a, you know, thinking out loud to myself. It's
Yeah, I know.
Alright, no matter what, my hand doesn't out what you've got, so I need to draw. So the next question becomes, what am I discarding? I think I have to discard this. At which point I shouldn't need the other card in my hand. And there is a worry that you might have your trap that flips my guys down, so I'm going to activate the second idle slot. Okay. So now, go ahead and activate Craft a Drone. Pitch to draw. Unfortunately, that is really not going to help. So, I will reveal to you my Griffin as we slap in.
Oh.
Yeah, I got nothing. I needed to draw. I needed some sort of fusion play there to do anything, but alas. Oh, I'm excited for this game 3 though. I will be going first, I think. Good luck.
Good luck.
I keep getting hands like this that I'm like, this doesn't really accomplish much. I think we're just going to go for the set play.
Okay.
And pass.
Right.
I think maybe going second with this deck is the play.
Hail Rider. Well, yeah, I'm amazed you haven't gone second, considering you're running Cyber Dragon.
Oh yeah, but it doesn't really matter. Most of the time you end up clearing my board every turn anyway. That's usually just how Rush goes.
Yeah, true. Drop a dimension others. Activate Universal.
Okay, you got Iron Onslaught.
Okay. Set this. Go battle.
Okay, there goes my Surge Bicorn. Okay, just Weenie Beats at the moment. Weenie Beats is fine. We can play around Weenie Beats. Alright, we will special summon Cyber Dragon.
There he is.
Then I'll tribute Cyber Dragon to summon Cyber Search Dragon. I'll then activate Cyber Search Dragon's effect. And I will put... So I'm putting the card to the top of my deck. I guess we'll put this to the top. Bring back Cyber Dragon. Then I'll tribute my Cyber Dragon to summon out Cyber Search Dragon.
Wow.
Then I'll activate Cyber Search Dragon's effect, put this on top of my deck, and bring back Cyber Dragon. There they are, my big board of boys. We'll go battle and get over everything. So with no back row, I have nothing to fear, because we don't have hand traps here. And then I pass.
Well, there is one card you should fear.
I mean, I can't do anything about that.
Dimension.
Oh, dark hole.
Pop lights. Set this. Set this in defense and swing for 3k.
Okay. 3k is not as bad as that could have been, I suppose. Okay, this hand is a little bit yikes. What can we do with it? Alright. We will normal summon Bicorn. Activate its effect. I can then shuffle 3 cards back into deck. And then I can treat this thing as 2 tributes.
Mm-hmm.
So next up, I will tribute it to summon out my Cyber Assault Dragon. And then I'll set a monster and then tribute both of these to summon out Cyber Stealth Dragon. Go to battle,
Okay.
and then I think I'm going to attack the defense monster and pass to you.
Set a back row.
Okay.
Normal summon out Burst Ray. Activate his effect.
Okay.
Reveal a Hackton chair. Tribute Burst Ray and Hoplins.
Yeah.
Activate Transy's effect. Summon out a Globule. Activate his effect. Gunman one. Normal summon this using Globule. Activate his effect to burn you some more.
Oh, this is going to be a nail biter, isn't it?
Good battle and hope that back row is nothing. Ooh.
Oh, it's something, just not
Oh.
here.
Okay. Yeah, I probably should
Oh.
have taken chair in defense. It's only Transy can attack. Ah, never mind.
Unfortunately, last turn I drew 3 high level monsters, and I've just drawn another 2 high level monsters, so I can't actually do anything.
Oof.
It's a bit of a whimper for the game to end, unfortunately. Just bricking 2 turns in a row.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a play, so yeah, GG, man.
GG.
Oh, that's so anticlimactic. It's so sad that that's how the game ends. I mean, what can you do, right? That's Rush.
Yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh! In general.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where in Yu-Gi-Oh! Or in any card game, you try and build your deck as best you can to not brick, right? You try and build consistency into it, you build searches, you want to put as few bricks in the deck as possible. It just turns out that Rush's way of building decks means you have to have kind of a certain number of high-level monsters. And sometimes you'll just draw all of them, and sometimes you'll see none of them, and that can just decide the game. Which is, again, it's not bad, right? I mean, I'm sure we'll play these decks again, so we'll get some rematches coming in, because I think this is a really cool matchup, the Dark Galaxy versus the Cyber. It's just like I said, anticlimactic that this is how it has to end. I had a lot of fun playing this deck, though. Obviously, again, if you didn't have the Dark Hole, I think I probably just steamrolled you in the early game there.
Yeah, probably.
So that obviously shows the power of Dark Hole as well, which is see, that's the thing as well. In Rush, you want to commit everything you have because you want to draw up to 5 cards. So you want to gain maximum value by drawing as many cards as physically possible. So you want to empty your hand, and emptying your hand means filling up the board with all of your cards. And Dark Hole, and I guess to a lesser extent, or a similar extent, Mirror Force, and I guess Trench of Tribute, it's hard to play around them, right? Because, for example, in the TCG, the way to, or I should say, in classic TCG, not necessarily the modern TCG, the way that you would play around board wipes is you just don't commit as much to the board. You're like, oh, I'll keep these cards in my hand, and that were there for when you do board wipe me, hopefully I'll have very few things on the board. In Rush, that's less applicable, right? Because you want to empty your hand because you want to be drawing all of the cards. So you could keep cards back in your hand, but if you do, you're basically saying, I'm going to be drawing less cards, so I'm going to be gaining less advantage, so I'm going to have less plays available. So playing conservatively feels counterproductive.
Yeah.
Which is why something like Dark Hole, which you can't really play around it, I guess is what I'm saying. Because Mirror Force, you can change monsters to defense mode. You can play spell cards like the barrier spell, I forget what it's called, which can protect your guys from being destroyed by traps. In this deck, I had what was called Cyber Griffin, which was discard a card, and then your like machine monsters can't be destroyed by trap cards, right? So there are, I feel like, ways to play around Torrential and Mirror Force, but it feels like there isn't really a way to play around Dark Hole, which is why I was so scared of it coming to Rush in the first place.
Yeah, I think White Hole could probably do it being added to Rush.
The problem with
not
White
as,
Hole,
not as legendary, maybe. I don't know.
yeah, the only problem with White Hole is it's heavily specific, just anti Dark Hole, right? The other thing is there aren't really any trap cards at the moment in Rush that react to other trap cards, right? Like every time a trap card goes off, it's because a monster's died, or an attack has been declared, or a monster's been summoned, or something has happened. But we don't really have any like higher than like chainlink ones in Rush, right? We haven't had like I activate my trap, okay, then I chain my trap, and then I chain my trap, right? We haven't really had that. And I think, I don't know if they're specifically trying to avoid that, if they're like actively, oh well, we don't want these high chain links, we want to keep the game simple, which is fine, but it means not having counters, because that's one of the big things that Rush doesn't have is counter traps, which is what, you know, White Hole is. So I feel like they'd probably want more generic things, but then the only way to, if you don't want to react to Dark Hole, right, so you don't want to have like a counter trap or something that reacts when a spell is activated, you then just need blanket spell protection on monsters, which is where things are going to get a bit funky, because that turns off a lot of the game if suddenly you have a bunch of monsters that are unaffected by spell cards.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's definitely a weird one. But we did get to see your fusion, and we did get to see your Dark Hole. We didn't get to see them together, unfortunately.
Yeah, didn't get a chance to use the effects. I didn't have a card in hand, but yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately we didn't get to see a lot of my other cards. We got to see my main deck monsters in Cyber Stealth, Cyber Assault, and Cyber Search, which was cool. Cyber Search, by the way, is a promo card that came out 2 days ago. So very, very cool to see that. I wanted to wait until this card came out because it kind of brings the whole deck together. We unfortunately didn't get to see the other, again, like I said, extra deck monsters. We didn't get to see Cyber End because just getting 3 Cyber Dragons apparently can be quite challenging.
Yeah.
We didn't get to see Cyber Rush Dragon either. So Cyber Rush has an interesting effect where it has a bunch of stuff, but effectively it lets you special summon out a high level monster. So it does draw you up to 5 cards, then discard 4. So you technically will get to try and gamble on finding a high level monster from the top of your deck. But I would rather wait until I had a high level monster before I committed to that, and then I could kind of swarm the board. But even doing that, it felt bad because, right, either I just go into Cyber Twin, and then I've got a 2800 attack monster that can attack twice. So that's effectively 5600 damage there. Or I go into Cyber Stealth, or Cyber Rush, which I think it was a 2800 attacker, but then it can summon out a high level monster from my hand. And I'm like, well, the highest level monster from my hand I could summon with the most attack is just Cyber Stealth Dragon, which is only 25. So that's already less damage, less potential damage, I should say, than just Cyber Twin on its own. Now, the caveat to that, obviously, is I have 2 bodies, so you can do more with 2 bodies. But a lot of the time, I think I'm just going to lean towards Cyber Twin. Because, so the other thing is Cyber Search. Now, Cyber Search can summon out another Cyber Dragon from Graveyard. But I have to place a card from my hand on top of my deck to do that, which I cannot do if I've used Cyber Rush, because when you conclude Cyber Rush Dragon's effect, your hand is empty.
Yeah.
So, like, it's this weird, like, there's this plays I could make, but it's kind of a little bit too restrictive. It's like the game doesn't want me to do all of it, which I can understand, because Cyber Dragon is very polarizing in the TCG, because it's very OTK, FTK kind of inspired. Like, the original time the Cyber Dragon fusion cards were really being used was with Cyberstein, which is just pay 5,000 life points, cheat it out, slap like a limiter removal on it, attack someone for game in 1 turn, which, as someone who played through that time in Yu-Gi-Oh!, that wasn't a very fun time. It was just, oh god, this guy's played Cyberstein, the game's over. But, again, like I said, I really enjoyed this. Bit of an anticlimactic end, but I'm looking forward to playing this deck again, and I'm looking forward to playing against your fusion again, and the Dark Galaxy. Not super looking forward to Dark Hole. Okay, we'll have to see if that comes up again, because I haven't used Dark Hole yet, so we'll have to see if I want to bring it one of these weeks. But yeah, thanks for the game, buddy, and GG.
GG.